Alright, so I just got my Phantom 3, and one of the first mods I'm going to do is prop guards. These are going to help me out a lot just by not going through propellers really quick. I already had a Phantom 1, I put these on the Phantom 1, and I went through the prop guards within a day. Now those were counterfeit prop guards. These are the actual legitimate OEM ones that come from DJI. There's a lot of counterfeits out there, so I suggest you buy direct from a distributor if you can. If not, you're going to get this cheap plastic thing versus this. Now the differences are, this is a very cheap plastic. It was made in China, really cheap. I believe these were around $7 for the whole thing. And this is the authentic ones. The definitely feels a lot sturdier. They don't bend as easily as these, as the counterfeit ones. Now these are for the Phantom 1. These are for my Phantom 1, so I only have 2 of them left, which I guess I can throw on if I snap the Phantom 3 ones. I think these are, these should be able to go on. If not, I guess I'm out. But it looks like it's the same. I'll try to mount this right now and see if it works. But this is a cheap investment, and it'll save your quadcopter from crashing. You know, if you're near a wall or anything, the quadcopter will actually stabilize and hold near a wall, which I'll show you later on after I install these. But let me see if these are going to fit. I've already taken off 2 screws over here, so first thing we're going to do is place the quadcopter down. And let me get the counterfeit, well, replica, counterfeit, whatever you want to call them, and see if these install. It looks like they fit. Let me just try to screw this one on with the supplied DJI screws. Get my set of Allen keys. You're going to need Allen keys to do this. You need 2 sizes. Let's see if that's the right one. Wrong. Looks like you only need 1 size. So the counterfeit screws that I installed on my Phantom 1 are actually a different size. Let's put this other one on. Make sure you're not make sure you're not messing up the threads, which is what it feels like when I put it on. I don't want to strip. I think this goes into the motor. Or that's the Loctite that was applied. Gets a little, feel a little pressure when you're trying to screw in. But from the looks of it, I think the counterfeit ones from the Phantom 1 will serve as a good replacement when I snap these ones, because you're always going to crash. I don't care who you are. It's just going to happen, even when you don't expect it. And I've already crashed this once, and I just got it yesterday. It was a small crash against a wall indoors. So there's the counterfeit ones. Let's see. Looks like it clears it, no problem. And it looks fine. And then this is the authentic ones. The authentic ones have, where you tie the string around, they have their own little eye loops on the edges. These ones just have a, they just put a hole right at the end of the corner. So, well, I'm going to take the counterfeit ones off because I don't want to run those. I feel like these are going to, the authentic ones, a lot stronger, a lot sturdier. This is, you can see how cheap this is compared to this. This is very stiff, so this should be able to last after a couple crashes. So I'm going to remove this replica off of here. And you can just hear the difference. You can see this is a lot more sturdy. This thing's a piece of crap. That's why I already snapped 2 of them. Okay, let's get the legitimate ones on. Now, one thing you want to do is right when you remove the screws that come off of the quadcopter, they're going to be very small screws. Here's the difference. I don't know if you could see. It's about double the length. So what you're going to do is get your original screws. Don't throw these out, because if you snap these and you don't have any left, this is way too long in order to hold the motor in. So grab a Ziploc bag and you're going to put all of the screws you remove, and you're going to save them, because you will probably end up using them again unless you buy a couple backups of these. So what we're going to do is press it on. You're going to feel, you have to press it a little, and it has a little resistance when you put it on. It's a perfect fit when you push down, which is I wouldn't say nice, but just apply both of your screws. Hand tighten them first a little if you can, so you don't strip and you don't cross thread. Feels like that was going in sideways. Again, sideways. It's hard to hand tighten, these are so small. Okay, looks like that's an easier way. Don't do the hand tightening, it doesn't work. I mean, unless, you could get it to work. I couldn't get it to work. So I got one in. Second one's going in. Now with my thumb, I'm applying pressure, because like I said, these have resistance, and they won't sit flush with the with where you're applying the prop guard. Now when you come down, you're not going to want to tighten one all the way and then go straight for the other one and tighten it all the way. You want to do a little on each side. This is the same concept when you're applying a wheel on a car. When you're putting it on, you want it to sit flush, so you're going to adjust both. You're going to go turn a little, go to the next one, a little, go to the next one, a little. Now it's snug on there. I'm not over tightening it a lot. I don't recommend you over tighten it a lot, because you will strip the threads on the inside. And then once you strip the threads on the inside, like I said, I don't know if it's I believe it's the motor that it's attached to, but you're going to need a new motor. And this thing just came out, so you can't even get parts for it right now. The market for this thing is nuts. So parts aren't available. You can't even get batteries right now as of this date. So everything's on back order. Try not to screw it up. And don't use like an electric, if you have like a small electric hand tool or something like that, don't use that. That's the last thing you need on this. Okay, got our first small screw. Got our second one. Now people have been applying Loctite additionally to what's already included on these screws. These screws already have Loctite on them, you don't need to. If you do apply a Loctite, do not use some of the stuff you get at Home Depot. Go on the forums and research. There's a specific Loctite you need for these. If you do, I have some Loctite right here, but I'm not going to use it because this is the wrong one. This is 242. Don't use 242. It's I don't know, people were recommending against it. They said their frames were cracking or something after a while. It's just not recommended. All right, so take the other screws. We're going to keep them in our Ziploc bag just so we don't lose them, because those things are small and it's very easy to lose. All right, next one, applying pressure. Make it sit flush. I'm trying to screw them in by hand, but this doesn't really work. So what we'll do, this is actually the easiest way, so you can learn from my mistakes, is screw one in until you kind of have, until it's pushing down the prop guard to sit flush. Now it's sitting flush. The other one hasn't even been screwed in yet. This is a lot easier for me right now compared to the other way I did it. Okay, remember, we're not going to tighten this one down all the way yet until this one's at the same depth. So the second one goes in, very easy. There's no, not cross-setting it or anything. It goes in pretty simple. Okay. Now I'm just going by feel right now. I don't really have a torque wrench or anything like that to do this. I don't think you need that. Just do not over tighten. You just want them to be a little bit more than snug. You'll start getting a lot of pressure the further you go. And I think if you were to over tighten these, the screws would actually start going into this plastic prop guard. And then, or I'm not sure, it might even strip it straight up. But I'm doing each one individually. Make sure they're about the same tightness so we're running. Now there's no way for me to check this. I don't have any tools to actually check the inch-pounds on this, but we're just guesstimating at this point. Here comes the next one. Put these aside. Boom. Let's get our next one. Press it on, make sure it fits, make sure everything aligns. Because if you're off center like this and you screw in one, you're gonna damage the inside of these. If you put too much pressure and they're not aligned, you're gonna push one side and you might break it. So make sure that it sits flush. You'll hear it. You can even hear it click if you push a lot of pressure on it. Did it once. I guess I'm gonna do it again. Alright, let's start with this. Now I'm still applying pressure with my thumb, just so we're sitting flush. Alright, that seems good. A little more. Alright, I'm bringing the other one in now. The other one goes in 2 seconds just because the prop guard's already locked into place, which is nice, so it's easier than trying to put both of the screws in while it's not even mounted. Alright, now I'm tightening side by side, giving even pressure. I'm not over tightening. I'm doing this very gently. This is delicate. They use a lot of materials on this that are very lightweight, and lightweight usually doesn't mean that strong, so you got to be careful when you're doing any work on these. You can easily strip these out. That's good. Let's do the last one. These are very short screws on here. If you don't have fingernails or anything, and if you have a magnet on hand, I recommend you use a very small magnet just to lift these screws off if you can't pull them out. Because they can, after they're unthreaded, they still sit flush with the top, so it's kind of hard to pull out. So. In our bag. Okay, now I have all my OEM screws right here. So I'll put that in my storage bag. So I'll have it in case I need to replace or anything. Alright, applying pressure. Sitting flush, screw it down so we can, it's on there, it's good. Bring the next one in. All right, now we're going to tighten individually, go back and forth. Okay, and that's it. Now there is another step you can do. You can apply this string, which I did it on my Phantom 1, but I don't know, it's a pain in the ass, and I just don't really want to do it on this. If you're hitting a corner of something, basically that's what's going to happen. The quadcopter is still going to push away. You probably have a chance of hitting the wall or anything like that, but I'm not really going to be flying anywhere near any trees or anything. I live in a desert, there's nothing out here. But that would be your protection right there, is that string, and what you do is you're just going to thread it through all the way around the quadcopter and then tie it off, and that's it. Maybe I'll do it later, but for now I don't really care to do this. And that also makes the quadcopter seem a lot bigger than it is. Let me grab another one. So, looks pretty big. And then there's my Phantom 1. Very small. So when it's in the air, it's going to look a lot bigger too. And it doesn't add that much weight. I don't think it's going to affect battery life that much at all. They're very lightweight, very sturdy. And looks like the installation went good. Check all the propellers. Make sure everything's going around, nothing's hitting. You should do this on every flight check too. Right before you're gonna fly, check your propellers, make sure that if one of these, because if these break, they're gonna break right here at these points right here. And once they break, you won't even notice it because it's all white. But if you don't notice it, you don't check it, and this happened to me, what happens is these will pop up and your propeller's just gonna, on startup, and you're gonna, you might destroy a propeller that way. But I'm still running the original propellers on the Phantom 1, and I've crashed that thing so many times. I use this just for photography. I use the Phantom 1 for messing around if I want to be stupid. You know, I don't have to worry about a $1,500, $1,300 investment in the air smashing on the ground just because I want it to go full speed this way, or, you know, whatever. So I'm trying to keep this, I'm going to baby this one as much as possible, and the other one I don't really care if it crashes. I only paid $300 for the Phantom 1 brand new. It just got discontinued, so I got a deal on that. Now they come with 2 extra screws. We're going to put that in the bag because for some reason on these, with all the vibration, even with Loctite, the screws sometimes pop out. On your flight check, when you're checking propellers to see if they clear, also check the bottom. Check all your screws and make sure they're there. If one of these come off and you're in mid-flight, say you're 500 feet up or something, and one of these prop guards gets loose and your propeller hits it, there goes $1,300. So flight check is the most important thing. Even though you have the prop guards, you're going to protect them, but you still have to do an overall check and make sure everything's running good. So now that we have these installed, I'm going to go ahead and fly this in basically next to a wall so you can see that it will still stabilize itself. We're going to still be in flight, but we're going to be hitting something, and you'll have no problem. Now, if you're flying around trees or anything like that, I recommend you do this. You put the string on here just to protect against any branches or anything. If you get too close, it could save your ass. So let's go ahead and do the flight against the wall so we can see how these things work. All right, so let's go ahead and put this thing against the wall and see what happens. See if our prop guards work. a good hit. Protected us, we're still in the air. And we're on the wall right now, we're on the window. We're still flying, we're good. And as you see, the drone has no problem being against. We're against the window right now, and we're still good. Now, if you're in GPS mode, it's going to try to pull away. So I think we're done with this, and let's land it. And that's it. Looks like they worked perfectly fine. Wait for the drone to shut off. That's it. Looks like it worked, and we saved ourselves from hitting a wall.